Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. The text came in at 2:17 a.m. Can we talk tomorrow? Please don't call. I'll explain. I stared at my phone in the dark, the glow cutting across the ceiling like a blade. My wife had never asked me not to call. Not once in 8 years. My first thought was that something terrible had happened. An accident, a diagnosis, a mistake she needed help fixing. My second thought was quieter and uglier. She doesn't want you to hear someone else breathe. I didn't sleep. I lay there listening to the house settle, every familiar creak suddenly foreign. When the sun came up, the kitchen smelled like the coffee she'd set on a timer before bed. It felt like a lie brewing itself. For weeks before that night, there were signs I'd ignored because loving her had trained me to explain everything away. Missed calls she returned hours later with thin excuses. Her phone face down at dinner. A laugh she tried to swallow when a message came in. Work's been crazy, she said. And I nodded because I wanted to be the kind of husband who trusted first. The morning after the text, she moved through the house like a guest, polite, distant, careful not to touch anything that might belong to me. I'll talk tonight, she said, already reaching for her keys. No kiss. No eye contact. The door clicked shut with a finality that sat heavy in my chest all day. I told myself not to snoop. I told myself I wasn't that man. But trust, once cracked, makes liars out of promises. When her old tablet buzzed on the counter that evening, I looked. A preview message lit up the screen. I missed last night. Same place. My hand shook as I opened it. There were weeks of messages, inside jokes I didn't recognize, plans that threaded themselves around my schedule, pictures I couldn't unsee. It wasn't cinematic. There were no dramatic declarations of love. Just ordinary intimacy. The kind that hurts most because it feels like it could have been mine. When she came home, I was sitting at the table with the tablet between us. She froze in the doorway. For a moment we just breathed. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said, before I asked anything. I felt invisible. He listened. I wanted to scream that I had listened, that I had built a life around hearing her. Instead, I asked the only question that mattered. How long? She answered honestly. That was almost worse. We talked for hours. She cried. She told me she was ashamed, that it started as comfort and turned into something she couldn't stop. I told her about the nights I'd waited up, the excuses I'd swallowed. We circled the truth until it bled. When dawn edged through the blinds, I stood up. I'm leaving, I said. My voice surprised me, steady, clear. I packed a bag and walked out without looking back, because if I did, I knew I'd stay. The days that followed were quiet in a way grief often is. I moved into a small apartment with borrowed furniture. I ate cereal for dinner. I learned the sound of my own breathing again. She texted apologies I didn't answer. I needed silence to remember who I was without the weight of what she'd done. Weeks passed. Then months. I filed for divorce. Signed papers. Told myself closure was a door you close, not a gift you receive. Then one afternoon, as rain streaked the window, my phone rang. Her name. I almost didn't answer. I'm pregnant, she said, voice trembling. It's not his. The timing, it's yours. The room tilted. Fear and hope tangled so tightly I couldn't tell them apart. We met at a cafe, two people who knew each other too well and not at all. She looked smaller. Tired. Honest in a way she hadn't been before. I lost you, she said. That's what it took to see everything. I didn't rush forgiveness. I didn't pretend the past had softened. We talked about therapy, about boundaries, about the child growing between us like a fragile bridge. I told her I couldn't promise anything except truth. In the end, what came next wasn't reconciliation or revenge. It was choice. I chose myself first, my dignity, my boundaries. And in choosing that, I found the space to consider what rebuilding might look like, slowly, carefully, if it happened at all. I walked away after what she did, believing endings were final. I never expected that walking away would teach me how to stand, how to listen to my own voice, how to demand honesty, how to love without disappearing. Some betrayals end stories. Others rewrite them. This one taught me that strength isn't staying or leaving. It's knowing why you choose either, and being brave enough to live with it.